Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Buckle up indeed. Welcome to the ride. This is Soccer in 60, the fastest paced soccer show in SoCal, brought to you by SAC Health System, covering all the week's news, highlights, and more from LAFC, the Galaxy, Angel City, Orange County Soccer Club, and of course, the Major Arena Soccer League's very own Empire Strykers. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, J.R. Liebert, affectionately known as The Scarf. Thank you so much for joining me on another absolutely jam-packed podcast and show. This is a fantastic episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on all your podcast platforms, and make sure you subscribe to Soccer in 60 on YouTube. Joining me today, two of my favorite people in the world to talk soccer with. First, from the La Cuna Galaxiana podcast, I give you one, Rob Halone. Rob, welcome.
Hello. It's good to be back with y'all.
Great to have you back, my friend. And of course, joining me from world-famous Philomonster Studios, the co-host of the Defenders of the Bank podcast and the voice of the Empire Strykers, Christian Philly Philemon.
Yes, sir. Coming in hot enough with enough energy to make Red Bull wonder if I gave it wings. But Scarf, I don't know how the hell we're going to have a jam-packed show. Nobody played. We don't even have a best 11. We have to incorporate ourselves in this list. Jam-packed? I don't know.
Listen, we've got the best three to talk all the soccer in SoCal right now, including a fantastic interview with the Empire Strykers' newest striker, Ant Powell. Philly and I sat down with Ant, and it is a fantastic, fun interview. Talks all about his plans this year and, of course, playing in Europe. I mean, he had a really fun upbringing. So just make sure you stick around for that interview with Ant Powell. You're right, though, Philly. No action on the pitch this week, but you know what? Plenty of action from our friends over at Omnitrans. In partnership with the Empire Strykers, experience the thrill of game day with Omnitrans. Be in the heart of the action at Toyota Arena and let Omnitrans take care of the ride. Simply download the Transit app to catch your bus and enjoy a stress-free trip to cheer on the Strykers. Don't miss out on the excitement and make every moment count at Toyota Arena. Ride with Omnitrans to your next Empire Strykers game. Rob, we talked about this with your co-host, Ananda. You guys had a game last week. Everybody else was either on international break or off-season or playoffs, but you guys decided to bring over one of Liga MX's most storied teams, Club America, and you guys played 86 whole minutes of soccer before the weather god said, all right, we're done. That's it. But let me get your quick take. A 2-2 draw to Club America. They led twice. Galaxy battled back twice for the draw. What do we take away from, let's talk about the first half first, because that's when we had the adults in the room. That's when a lot of the starters were playing. What is your take on that first half?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly heartening to see that they fought back twice, like you mentioned. I mean, Club America is one of the best sides, and not only in Liga MX, but in CONCACAF, and they hung with them. So definitely signs, positive signs there. Stand out Mauricio Cuevas with 2 assists, and showing that he's a versatile player. I love his comments post-match in that, you know, he was asked what's his best position. Hey, I'm just out there to do a job. So wherever the coach needs me to play, I'm going to play, and I'll do that job for you. So overall, you know, it was a first half in which you saw the most action. Second half, obviously, got rained out. But, you know, there were things to take away. I'm sure Greg was pleased with the performances from a lot of these players.
Yeah, all 4 goals scored in that first half as well. But you mentioned Mother Nature still undefeated. Philly, you have said this time and time again on Soccer in 60 that without Ricky Pooch, the performance that we saw down the stretch from the Galaxy leads you to believe that next season they are going to come out the gates firing and looking a lot more like the MLS Cup champion of a couple of seasons ago, rather than like the team that started winless in their first 16. Seeing how they played against Club America, battling in that first half, starters on starters, what did that do to your opinion for the Galaxy this upcoming season?
I mean, it's a friendly and the game that really doesn't matter. And honestly, how many times has the Galaxy played Club America since 2015? Once, twice? Like, this isn't like a lot of games that they play against one another. The first half was promising. That was really the only half because, to your point, Mother Nature decided to shower Los Angeles, which she doesn't do very often. Funny enough that she did it on the day of a Galaxy Club America game. But no, my opinion hasn't been swayed or changed because of this friendly. I do think that they are going to come turning things around, and they are going to be among the top elite teams in Major League Soccer next season. I've said it time and time again that I'm going to end up with egg on my face with the amount of things I've said, and in not exactly positive light about the LA Galaxy. But I think they're going to completely turn things around. A 180. Because as we know, a 360 brings them back to the point that they started in. So, yes, a complete 180 on the season. Next season, they will be contenders. Absolutely.
Yeah, Rob, let me ask you, you're a co-host on the Lacuna Galaxiana podcast with your partner, Ananda. The goal scorers, Christian Ramirez and Gabriel Peck, no real surprise there, but you mentioned Mauricio Cuevas, 2 assists, and really becoming a Swiss Army knife, or at least definitely letting Coach Greg Vanny know he can be a Swiss Army knife out there. He was really one of those players that at the end of the season forced Greg Vanny to take a hard look at what his role may be in 2026. Let me ask you what you feel his role could be in 2026.
It's a tough one, right? Because you do have Mickey Yamane in that position, who is one of the most experienced players on the team. He definitely has quality, and he knows Greg's system really, really well. But Mauricio's, I feel like, earned his place. So they're definitely going to be battling it out for that, that position. I've asked both of them what it's like to go kind of head to head, and they've both seemed to relish kind of the challenge and pushing each other. And then they have another promising young back named Harbor Miller pushing them both. Right. So it presents Greg with options. I mean, in so far that they're trying to remake the roster for that run next year. I mean, if Will Kuntz all of a sudden decides, hey, the $900K plus that Mickey Yamane is making, we can reinvest that into somewhere else because we have a Mauricio Cuevas and a Harbor Miller. That might be an option too.
Yeah, that was something we talked about with Ananda. Harbor Miller starting at some point that last season on all 3 lines. He started at outside back, he started at midfield, started at striker, and I believe, just 19 years old, right? Getting some time with the youth national team as well. And let me ask you one other thing about the environment there. 17,000 or so tickets sold for that one. I don't think it was 17,000. Certainly when Mother Nature came, it got real sparse real quick. But what we saw was no surprise to any of us going into that match. A lot of Club America jerseys. My question kind of is, why do the Galaxy put themselves in that position at the end of the offseason or at the end of the regular season where they're essentially hosting a home match for Club America?
Yeah, no, it's got to be a couple things, right? I mean, these games don't typically, come together that quick. So you got to think that this one was put on or thought up a couple months back, maybe 5 or 6 months at the very least, right? We took the pulse of Galaxy fans, and they overwhelmingly did not care about this match. But for Club America fans, it was an opportunity to go out and see their team. I mean, they call Los Angeles their home away from home. So if that's true, then they had a nice reception at the digs, all 17,000 of them, because there was maybe like 100 Galaxy fans there. They did not care, but this was a chance for the Galaxy to make a little money, Club America to make a little money, and America fans to come out and see their team. What I didn't like is, and I railed against this on Lacuna Galaxiana, is the fact that the Club America or whoever was putting on this match took over merch as well. So I have never seen this, another team's merch being sold in your stadium. I mean, could you guys imagine Club America merch being sold at BMO? I mean, right. I certainly could not. So it's just, I don't know. That's one of the ones that just, okay, the cynicism of the cash grab aside, the merch being sold, an opposing team's merch, that's far beyond.
Yeah, we've seen it in those trucks outside by the parking lot, but never certainly inside the stadium. Let's switch gears and talk about a team who didn't play this last week, but many of their players did. It was international duty time for many, many, many on LAFC. And Philly, if I would have told you at the end of it that it would be just young Andy Morin who still has a chance to join several of our players in the World Cup after this run, unfortunately, that would be the least likely, I think, looking into what they had to do to beat Portugal and then the improbable win by Hungary. But let's talk first about Gabon and Denis Bouanga. Philly, unfortunately, Nigeria, the Super Eagles catching them 4-1 in added extra time. So Philly, the run for Denis is over on trying to have Gabon qualify for their first ever World Cup.
It's unfortunate. Curacao now has the distinct honor and privilege of being among one of the smallest nations to qualify for the World Cup. I don't have a comparison of populations for Curacao and Gabon, but I mean, it would have been an elite honor, obviously, for Gabon to have moved forward. But look, Nigeria is always been among one of the top teams historically making it to the international tournaments out of Africa. Them, obviously, Cameroon, just to name a couple. It's sad that the run ends. But more important than that, I'm just happy Denis didn't get hurt.
They're absolutely. Look, and by the way, Gabon, 2.5 million people, I believe, 46th most populous nation in Africa against Nigeria, the first. How about 2.5 million for Gabon? 150,000 for Curacao. That is just unbelievable that Curacao, just 150,000 qualify. Congrats to them. Philly, unfortunately, El Salvador got eliminated by Cinderella Suriname. Unfortunately, clock struck midnight on Suriname in their next match. Guatemala failing to qualify for their first World Cup. So that means Nathan Ordaz and LAFC call up several times Matt Evans. Neither of them going. And Philly, you and I talked about it quite a bit. On El Salvador, Josh Perez, Tomas Romero. So a heavy LAFC presence there. But let me ask you about Ireland, Philly. What a story for young Andy Morin, who unfortunately didn't play in either of these two. He was an unused sub against Portugal and then did not make the 18 against Hungary, but beating Cristiano Ronaldo 2-0, where Cristiano got a red card in that first match. And then at the death, another goal by Parrott, his third in 2 matches to see them through to the tournament where my Italy will also be. I'm deathly afraid of what Italy is. Might have to face North Macedonia again and get eliminated.
But keep on North Macedonia.
But Philly, you watched. We talked about those Ireland matches. Young Andy Morin has a chance to play in the World Cup thanks to that heroics. What'd you think?
I mean, that game was unbelievable. I mean, we just saw the biggest goal in the history of Ireland's footballing existence. I mean, the excitement of it, the call itself. I mean, being a broadcaster, just to have the opportunity to call a spectacle of that magnitude, it was an incredible goal. I mean, I think the joke is that everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. I think everybody was Irish watching that game because the emotions, everything that came through with it. I mean, it was just an incredible game at the death. I mean, wow.
Yeah, and Rob, you watch plenty of international soccer. If I would have told you at the start of that 2-match run that, first of all, Ireland is going to shut out a Cristiano Ronaldo-led Portugal team and then take out Hungary at the death, where would you have been on whether or not you should have placed that parlay bet or not?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have said like, hey, you know what? You can't take my money. A fool and his money, right? But it's certainly a great story. I mean, this is what soccer is built for, right? And Moran, I mean, he didn't play, but these moments, you know, being part of that group, that's special, right? That helps you grow. I mean, and especially that experience, if you know they actually go ahead and participate in the World Cup, man, what a special feeling for him, man. And then, you know, shout out to Scotland as well, who, you know, had a fantastic game in their own right. I think that one ended 4-2, and yeah. You know, I think Kieran Tierney won that 1-3 to, you know, in injury time, scored the third goal. But man, a lot of fantastic international soccer that's taken place over the past couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, Scotland did their thing, Scarf, and look, I mean, Ireland's they have not had a history within the World Cup. I think the last time they were in there, I was a freshman in college, 2002. Prior to that, we had the World Cup in the U.S. I remember Ireland when they were at Giant Stadium, for Christ's sakes. I go that far back. I mean, not a lot of appearances, but you know that they're going to come traveling, and it's going to be a party anywhere that Ireland plays. I forget following Germany in their final season wearing the Adidas kit. I'm traveling with the Irish, baby. What a party that's going to be.
Listen, I'm going to hang out with Curacao wherever they're at here. That should be kind of fun. But listen, I want to talk too about some friendlies that were played. Also, you got Sonny with another free kick banger for South Korea in their 2-0 win over Bolivia. He also got the start in their 1-0 win over Ghana. I think we all need to step back and take a minute and realize what it means to have South Korea's captain. He's, I believe, their first or second leading capped player of all time, highest scorer of all time, all of the things that you would want in your megastar. Oh, by the way, he does that for his country as well, if not better. And that free kick was just yet another reminder of the absolute megastar that Son Heung-min is. Philly, when you watch that free kick curl into the upper 90, where do you mind telling us again what's kept up there and who keeps it?
Upper corner, top shelf, where my Uncle Franz keeps the good schnapps.
Yeah, that's exactly where Sonny put that ball. An absolutely beautiful goal. What's it like to be able to watch Sonny play for South Korea?
I mean, honestly, it's business as usual. But we've been watching him play for South Korea for quite some time. I'm a little happy of the fact that he got to chat with Kim Hoon-hwan, who also spent time at LAFC. So now they got two players on that starting lineup in particular versus Bolivia that have something in common. Look, Sonny's all business. Watching him take care of business at this point, it's almost like breathing. It's automatic. I mean, there's no surprise. He's going to succeed. He's the best player to ever come out of there, and obviously has a whole slew of fans. We see that now at LAFC, at BMO, and obviously with the jersey sales. I mean, among the top-selling jerseys in North America. The man has an impact on and off the field, but it wouldn't matter the impact he has off the field if he wasn't taking care of business on the field. Sonny's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things before we wrap up the international talk. Timothy Tillman getting his second and third U.S. men's national team caps in their 2 wins, 2-1 over Paraguay and 5-1 over Uruguay. And by the way, we're going to be talking a lot about the World Cup as the World Cup starts here in North America in just a couple of months. So that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that. David Martinez picking up a red card for Venezuela against Canada. Matthew Chonier really didn't play all that much. And just want to remember Jude Terry for the under-17s had a spectacular tournament, even though Morocco eliminated another U.S. national team in another big tournament. He had a fantastic tournament, scoring the opening goal against Morocco off an assist from the Kevin Sullivan Messi, I believe is what they're calling him now. Just want to remind everybody that LAFC does have a road match coming up Saturday, November 22nd. It is the Western Conference semifinal against Vancouver at one of Philly's favorite places to have LAFC play, BC Place. That is a massive, massive game. MLS Apple TV is already starting the hype. It's Thomas Muller. It's Son Heung-min. It is going to be absolutely massive, and a sellout of over 48,000 from what we understand in Vancouver. That is going to be a fun one. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Philly, your quick thoughts on LAFC Vancouver.
This isn't the LAFC Vancouver of yesteryear, not during the Vanni Sartini era. This is the best Vancouver Whitecaps team that's ever been in existence, and they were taking care of things even prior to Thomas Muller joining the side. Great team, great players. And fortunately, Thomas is there, obviously, not having Brian White in with due to his hamstring. I mean, Tristan Blackman, defender of he's still questionable, MCL. But look, this Vancouver team is going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy trip for LAFC. We've jokingly referred to BC Place as bad carpet place. Hopefully, they don't badly beat us on that carpet there. But look, it's going to be the most intense match that these two teams have ever squared off against in each other's history. LAFC obviously has the lion's share of victories, but this is not Vanni Sartini's Whitecaps team. This is going to be, arguably, in my opinion, even if we advance and play the likes of San Diego or Minnesota, I do think this will be LAFC's toughest contest in the West.
Truth.
Yeah, speaking of intense, by the way, how about talks to eventually replace Commissioner Don Garber heating up a little bit as his contract up in 2026? And one of LAFC's managing owners, Bennett Rosenthal, along with crew owner Jimmy Haslam, who I know is not one of the most loved people in all of Major League Soccer, leading these discussions. And I want to talk to you both real quick. If we could get Rob, your thoughts. One of the names that came up as a potential replacement, president and CEO of AEG since 2013 and on the board of governors for both Major League Soccer and the National Hockey League, would be one Dan Beckerman. What are your thoughts on Dan? And my full disclosure, I know Dan, so I'm going to remove myself from this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him. I've seen him around the digs plenty of times, and he's presided over a Galaxy period where they've won titles, but they've also had periods of instability. They've been fined by the league for impropriety with transfers. So there's pros and cons to Dan Beckerman. He's definitely going to continue raising the profile of the league, but you're not always going to be happy with his decisions. And right now, I think the way Don Garber's trending, I mean, I never thought we would get what we got in the past week. So let the man finish his business. Let the man fix the transfer rules and loosen the purse strings on the salary stuff, and then let him ride off into the sunset. Let him ride off like a saint.
Yeah, I hear you on that one, Philly. One of the other names that came up, a friend of ours, I can say, Larry Berg, co-managing owner of LAFC. Your thoughts on Larry's potential move to the commissionership if he wants it?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we have a relationship with Bennett Rosenthal, maybe not as tight as you have with Dan Beckerman. I feel like it would be, a conflict of interest for me to say something like this. Look, but to have him, he's a successful businessman. What he's done within his time running a private equity firm, obviously, to what they've been able to do to turn things around at LAFC has been incredible. And in some cases, I think that obviously favors LAFC in a lot of ways with potential conflicts of interest. But the same thing can be said about Dan Beckerman. If I were to have to choose, though, I would probably go with Beckerman for the simple fact that he's run an entertainment conglomerate for a number of years, but not only from the position of a CEO. Man, the man was the chief operating officer for AEG for a while. Then he moved on over to the CFO aspect. And then obviously as, running things as the CEO, he comes with a significant accounting background, having worked with one of the big 5 accounting firms. I mean, he knows business, not that Bennett doesn't, but in my opinion, if I had to choose, I would take Dan Beckerman, and I mean, because I like having Bennett Rosenthal where he is.
All right, well, we got to say thank you and goodbye to our buddy Rob. Rob, hello.
Thank you guys so much.
On the Lacuna Galaxiana podcast. Make sure you check out Rob. Thank you, my
friend.
friend.
Damn it, Rob, you're making me stay with this guy by myself. That sucks.
Let's check in with our good friends over at National Core. National Core is one of the nation's largest nonprofit affordable housing developers and a proud sponsor of your MASL team, the Empire Strykers. At National Core, they believe that soccer has the power to transform lives just like they do. They believe in building strong communities on and off the field. And to learn more about National Core and their mission, go to nationalcore.org. So we go from talking about our good friends over at National Core to Philly and I talking about one of our new good friends in the Inland Empire. That would be Empire Strykers' newest forward, Ant Powell. He sat down with Philly and myself, talked about all things, including getting used to the Inland Empire and Empire Strykers, playing in Europe and all kinds of fun stuff. Make sure you take a listen to this fantastic interview with new Strykers forward, Ant Powell.
Our guest today is a brand new forward with the Empire Strykers and a seasoned MASL veteran. A Texas native, he came up through the prestigious FC Dallas Academy and spent most of his 7 pro indoor seasons with the Dallas Sidekicks, setting a personal best in points per game last season and bringing his career total to 60 points in 77 matches. His resume includes outdoor spells in Iceland and Sweden and a run at TST, the world's most prestigious small-sided tournament with Villarreal. It's such a joy to have with us Mr. Ant Powell. Welcome to Soccer in 60.
Appreciate it, Philly. Nice to be on here.
Great to have you on here. It's better seeing you not wearing green and soon to be wearing black and purple. So welcome to the Empire. Now, Ant, we mentioned in the intro that you spent your entire life and career either in your home state of Texas or overseas in Europe. Now, for the very first time, you're taking your talents to another state within the U.S. by joining the Strykers and moving to Southern California. To be fair, there are no more MASL teams in your home state for now. But can you tell us how this opportunity came about and what made it feel like the right step in your career?
Well, I mean, the problems with the Sidekicks had arose, and we became free agents, and I had saw Obasi at a Talata tournament, shook his hand, and then he had reached out a couple weeks later, and I was definitely interested in coming and playing. And after that, all the numbers and everything else worked and seemed right and correct. So I took the opportunity and jumped on it.
Well, again, certainly happy to have you in the Empire. Let's emphasize again that last season you set a new career best in points per game. It was actually very similar to 23-24, but the difference was that in 24-25, you were able to maintain that while playing in 50% more games, which is a major accomplishment. And looking back, what do you feel clicked for you in the past couple of seasons and last season in particular?
I would say just confidence and understanding consistency of the game. I would say definitely the learning aspect and being more comfortable, but also I would say past couple of seasons before that, I was coming into season with a couple of injuries. So I mean, not coming into the season with an injury has definitely been a benefit. I mean, just coming in without having to then catch up regarding fitness and conditioning and strength and everything else, and coming in fit is completely different than coming in with, I guess, a crutch, more or less.
Well, Philly had just mentioned the TST and all of your experience. Let's talk about Steven Chavez for a minute, if you don't mind. He's a fellow Texas native who also recently joined the Strikers after having a breakout season with Texas Outlaws. He's a kind of a shifty technical midfielder. He's been your teammate at UPSL. He's been your teammate in TST. You guys actually played for the same college, just at different times. Would you say that it's been helpful having a familiar face like his in the locker room? He's also from your neck of the woods. What's it like having Steven Chavez there in the locker room with you?
It's amazing. I mean, it's always good seeing somebody that you've been around and grew up kind of with over the past 10 years or so. So, I mean, being around him and having somebody here that you've known for a while, it kind of allows a little bit more of a comfortable factor regarding somebody that you know.
Sure. Well, hopefully there are some other names that you're very familiar with on the Strikers already. You're stepping into an attack that already features all-stars Justin Stinson and Marco Fabian, Rookie of the Year finalist in Munir Alami. Obviously, veteran Berto Palmer, last season's runner-up in assists, Defensive Player of the Year before. He hasn't been a part of preseason yet, but you've had some time to train with the others. How do you feel like you're clicking with them, and how do you think your skill set is going to complement everything that goes on with the Strikers in 24-25? Or what they had going on in 24-25, excuse me.
I think that everything's clicking very well. Honestly, better than I expected. Usually it takes a little bit, I would say, to kind of get used to your teammates, but I mean, I would like to feel that my skill set is very complementary to others, so I'm easy to play with. I'm good at adapting, I guess, to situations and teammates to where we both can benefit from it. So I feel like with everything else between the system and the players and everything else, but also the experience, because at the end of the day, soccer knows soccer. So I mean, the chemistry factor, we all have had the experience and know the game pretty well. So I think definitely we're getting along and everything's, I guess, building upon one another.
That's great to hear. I've heard a lot of great things from the man himself, Strikers head coach, the cerebral assassin, Anu Obasi, the reigning MASL coach of the year. He led the club back to the playoffs last season with his innovative tactics, including getting his goalkeepers to go forward and contribute goals and assists. Now, having spent some time with the team and having seen Obasi's system from up close, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you enjoy playing in it, and where do you feel you're in terms of adapting to it?
I would say that from my perspective, that I like the system. It definitely, I feel like with my skill set, but also I guess my understanding of the game, I feel like it definitely complements me and how I play, but also it definitely gives a different aspect to the game. And I think that with that, it's definitely a positive. And just with anybody, that it makes it easier on the players for them to be able to be successful.
Now, obviously, you're no stranger to big change in terms of moving. This move isn't just a big change on the field, but obviously off the field as well. Like outside of your time in Europe, you spent your whole life in Texas. Assuming that this is your first extended stay in California, I'd love to know what you're most excited about, away from the game. Is there anything you've been dying to see or do in your new surroundings? Maybe a new favorite place, activity, anything you've already discovered that stood out?
I haven't really been able to do much or explore much. Kind of been really just focused on preseason right now. But I mean, maybe later on, I guess maybe go to the mountains, explore hiking. I mean, there's a whole bunch to do out here. I mean, this is definitely a new, I guess, experience and scenery and everything else. So I mean, there's a whole bunch to do. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it.
I hear that. Look, Philly talked about your time in Europe in the intro. You played for a couple of clubs in Iceland and Sweden. Talk about that a little bit. It seems like a pretty bold move for a kid from Texas. How did you get over there? What was your mindset when you made that decision? And how do you feel looking back on those experiences today?
So I got there through a soccer combine called Soccer Visa. Um, I did that. Going professional has always been something since I was a little kid, just something I wanted to do. It was just a matter of figuring out how to get there. And I saw Soccer Visa as a pro combine, and it's an opportunity. And for me, every opportunity is an opportunity. So regarding that, I took it and wanted to just get the best out of it. Ended up doing really well, and then ended up impressing the pro scouts and pro coaches, and then ended up getting a trial over in Iceland, and then through that signed after the trial and just went from there.
Well, look, we always like to give our audience a sense of who our guests are, not just as soccer stars, but as people, not just players. You're from the Fort Worth area in Texas, and I wonder if you could share a bit of what you remember of what your childhood was like, maybe as a teenager. Do you have any siblings? Were you always out kicking a ball around, or was there other stuff you like to do? Just talk to us about who you were as a little guy. How'd you get yourself in trouble? What'd you do?
Mm.
Now you're really putting him on the spot.
I would say so. Kicking the ball has always been something I've been doing since I was super little. I started playing soccer when I was 3, and you couldn't get literally a ball out of my feet or off of my feet. I mean, I always had the opportunity, or my parents would ask, "Hey, do you want to play basketball? Do you want to play football? Do you want to do all the other things?" I'm like, "No, I just want to play soccer." I mean, just soccer is my thing. This is what I love to do. It's where, I mean, I guess all the problems of life disappeared, I guess you could say. So, with that, I mean, I've just always played, and then, I mean, I had interest. I mean, I played basketball a little bit. It's kind of a hobby, more or less. But other than that, like I really didn't play anything other than just soccer. Just me and my brother in the backyard growing up, and played academy and club um growing up, and that's just what I wanted to do. So
Older
I love
brother or
it.
younger brother?
younger brother, he's 2 years younger. 2 years and five
Okay.
days.
So how long was it until you finally let him win? Is he still has he beaten you yet? What's going on?
He still plays. He's actually really good. He ended up, from my perspective, if you ask me, I think he would have turned out way better than I ever would have, just because he was younger. But he ended up choosing the football route. He ended up going and playing football. He still plays
Okay.
soccer now, but I mean, eventually, just because I'm older, I mean, I feel like I had that advantage. But I mean, he always gave me a run for my money. I would say that.
I love it.
And after time traveling to the past, let's get back to the here and now and look ahead to Friday, November the 28th. You guys are going to be hitting the road for your season opener against longtime rivals, the San Diego Sockers, a club that's really had the Strikers number over the years and eliminated Empire from the playoffs last season. Like, are you starting to get a feel for this rivalry yet? And being an MASL veteran, what do you expect from the Sockers and from this matchup?
They've always been a well put together and successful franchise. I'm expecting definitely a hard fought game. But I mean, from my perspective and the way I see it going into any game, each team has the same amount of players on the field, so every team has an equal opportunity to win. So I mean, just gonna go out there, do our best, do what we can, and hopefully end up getting the result.
Fingers crossed on that one. No better way to start off the season than winning on the road at Front Wave, something that's not been the case. Final question for you. You've previously mentioned that your goals with Empire are to be a great teammate, consistently make the game day roster, and surpass your stats from last season. Now that preseason is underway, have any of those goals shifted or become more concrete for you? Like, how are you defining personal success this season now that you've trained with the team?
I would say my best perspective, or my perspective, or best thought process that I think is maintaining those goals and those same things, because I mean, I feel personally training is a little bit different than the game. But also as well, like regarding those, I mean, being the best that I can be is all I can ever ask of myself, and all anybody ever can ask of me. So regarding those things, the team comes first. I'm just gonna do my job and the best that I can, and then just go from there, and hopefully everything works out.
I love the excitement. Coaching staff's had a lot of good things to say about you over the past couple of weeks. Your website, your profile has your nickname as El Leon. I have this cup here that has, I guess, something of a lion on there. So I raise my glass and toast to you. Don't worry about what's in it, but success to you, Ant, and looking forward to calling your first game. And hopefully several goals and several assists.
Fingers crossed. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ant. Philly, it's great to be able to talk to Ant. You're going to be calling a ton of his matches out at Toyota Arena as the Empire Strykers season gets set. Tickets for the home opener coming up. Don't forget, go to theempirestrykers.com, and that's strikers with a Y, theempirestrykers.com for season tickets and tickets for the home opener. Philly, you get to now come with me back down memory lane as we look at not one, not two, not three. Sorry, LeBron, it wound up only being two, but either way, 7 different Empire Strykers matches from the 2024-2025 home season. The first was a home and road, or should I say road and home showdown against Tacoma Stars. Philly, on January 25th, they had a 6-5 shootout loss to Tacoma on the road. But that home cooking must have tasted real good as they came out to Toyota Arena and got bludgeoned by the Strikers 12-5 in a great home win.
Yeah, it's funny. Now you're asking me to remember things from nearly a year ago. I've called so many broadcasts since then. And I honestly, I had totally forgotten that the Empire did lose at the Accesso Showwear Center against the Stars. But obviously the win at home, 12-5, a very convincing game. Those turnarounds are pretty tough. I mean, they played on January the 25th, quick flight out. January 26th was the next game. But, you know, you had really great efforts. Brian Orozco scores a goal. Kept a clean sheet for 30 minutes on the field. I mean, you had great performances by Robert Palmer. Munir Olami, who was a finalist for Rookie of the Year, had a great performance. Marco Fabian continued to do things. Justin Stinson, George De Leon. I mean, look, the Empire really started picking up steam after starting off the season with a really rough challenge against the Chihuahua Savage. But the games against Tacoma obviously added to the Empire's record and really showed how Onuo Obasi's system can be successful, in particular with the likes of a goalkeeper, the talent of Brian Orozco, who is going to emerge as a superstar this upcoming season, along with his running mate in between the sticks, Brandon Gomez.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Brian Orozco in these 7 matches, that's for sure. But that put Empire at 6-6-1 after the loss to Tacoma in Tacoma and then the win at home. So it would be a big story as we're in the mid-season portion of last year about kind of skirting that line between going over 500, under 500. And unfortunately, they had to take on the Chihuahua Savage twice at the beginning of February, both on February 2nd and February 5th. Philly, most clubs not successful to a great degree against Chihuahua Savage. Unfortunately, Empire going 0-2. That 10-5 home loss, though, just 3 days later, they got to regroup, and it was a heck of an effort by the Empire Strykers, taking Chihuahua down to the very last second, a 6-5 home loss, and a little bit of a coming out party of sorts, Philly, for Alan Perez.
Alan Perez, I mean, he goes back to the days of the Ontario Fury. I mean, he had himself a standout performance, like you said, but the Chihuahua Savage, whether they're at home or whether they're on the road, they're a tough team. You go to Corner Sport Arena, you're not going to win. Most teams go in there and it's a cauldron and they get murdered. They've shown those signs of being human by playing on the road. We saw the performances that they had against San Diego. They were beat, I think, if I remember correctly, by Utica. But, I mean, the Empire has not beaten the Savage in quite some time. Luis Medrano had a really good game there as well. But, look, the Savage, back-to-back, three-peat champions, and for a reason. They win at home, they win on the road. And with the way the playoffs eventually were designed, with everything happening in San Diego, they proved that they could still continue to win on the road despite being more down to earth as opposed to playing up in the stratosphere.
Yeah, got to give love to Alan Perez, though, the forward with a hat trick there against Chihuahua. Philly, and then that really iron sharpening iron there. Those losses against Chihuahua really catapulted the Empire Strykers forward, because what we would see next would be a 3-match win streak. They were 2 matches under 500, leaving those 2 matches against Chihuahua. We'd see them cross the 500 mark yet again. And first, maybe the call of the year, maybe the performance of the year. Philly was on that call, by the way. Go back and listen to it. A 4-3 overtime home win against the Baltimore Blast. When you're able to withstand 14 saves from Julian Rodriguez, an incredible performance by Baltimore's keeper, but he was by far, Philly, the second best keeper on the night in that one.
He was, and I love Julian Rodriguez from Queens, New York, went to Monsignor McClancy High School, not too far from where I grew up. But look, Brian Orozco, I think you were on the call with me during that game. I mean, the goal that he scored, what was incredible. I blew out my larynx calling that game. And what was funny about that was when I went down to over to Cary, North Carolina to call TST, anytime I introduced myself to a member of the production staff or any of the kids, any of the people that work there, they're like, "Oh yeah, you called the Orozco goal." That's how it was remembered, the Orozco goal. People I never met across the country recall that goal because it was incredible. It won the game, and maybe I'll say it was my favorite call of the year. If not, maybe my favorite call in indoor soccer ever. It was a hell of a goal, and he's a heck of a young man. I mean, he credited Onu Obasi for encouraging him to continue to do his thing. And the kid's a great shot stopper, great with his feet, very confident, very good in Obasi's system, and obviously he shows a knack for being able to score goals and create dramatic scenarios.
Yeah, and look, this was a Coach Onu Obasi kind of fine-tuning that system. What we saw, maybe not as risky in the way he was playing it, because 2 more big wins that we'll talk about. First, the 10-1 win in Texas. I mean, that was just a thumping. All due respect, but they only needed 8 saves from their 2 keepers, Orozco and Clayson DeLima. 7 goals after the break. Marco Fabian and Justin Stinson combining for 7 points, and really, the Texas Outlaws, a bit of a rough night and obviously a rough season. But Philly, after that, those 2 matches, getting Brian Orozco MASL goalkeeper of the week, something I think he would win more than once, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did win that more than once, and rightfully so. I mean, the kid had some stellar performances all season long.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Philly, the 10-7 home win, though, against Milwaukee proved that in a slugfest now, the Empire Strykers could win, and this was a tough battle. They go 1 match over 500, 9-8-1. And this time, Philly, it was the reigning or one of the best defenders in the entire league, Berto Palmer, leading the way with his offense.
Now, Berto has been an unbelievable defender all his entire career, multiple-time defender of the year, but his offensive game really picked up. I mean, he was like one of the top assist men throughout the course of the season as well. To get Berto contributing offensively, that obviously shows his knack for being able to do so, but this all just goes back to Onu Obasi and the system that he implies, allowing his defenders to be a big part of the offense as well. And look, Milwaukee had a damn good season. Milwaukee was in overtime with the Chihuahua Savage, and had it not been for like a freak goal, the Milwaukee Wave could have very well advanced to the Ron Newman Cup Finals. They were very close. So to manage to get a win against a successful team like the Wave, with the likes of your Ian Bennett's, they had Breno Oliveira. I mean, an incredible team, top to bottom, one of the best ever in the MASL. I mean, that told you. It told everybody across the league that Empire this season was for real.
And, oh, by the way, another game-winning goal for goalie Brian Orozco. Let's not forget that. Philly, Angel City, goalies aren't scoring goals for Angel City. In fact, they got to figure out where their goals are going to come from next season with the loss of Alyssa Thompson and many others. But one thing they don't have to figure out is Hina Sugita, extending her contract through 2029. Her original contract was up in 26. So it is a 3-year extension for the Japanese midfielder. And since coming over from Portland, all she did was take the pitch and never get off, playing the full 90 in the club's final 4 matches. And having somebody like Sugita on the pitch means that you are getting an extremely experienced Japanese international player who has played both of the last World Cups in 2019 and 2023, and in the 2020 Olympics for Japan. 51 total caps. She should cross the 100 appearance mark in NWSL in 2026 after a fantastic career playing in her native Japan. So a big deal that they were able to extend her. But a couple of things, Philly, that I wanted to talk with you about are some roster decisions made following the 2025 season. No surprise that defender Elizabeth Eddy was allowed to leave after her contract ran out, but Miyabi Mariah and goalkeeper Hannah Stambaugh both allowed to leave. Okay, those will make some waves, but let's talk about the other two players that were allowed to leave, Philly. Megan Reed and Madison Hammond. Megan Reed, all she has done is only play with Angel City her entire career. She joined NWSL, joined the club in 2022. She had played 72 matches, 58 starts, and seeing a player like her walk out the door really means another piece of Angel City's heritage, that link back to their first year. Again, losing another piece of that's got to hurt.
I mean, the other morning I woke up and I was watching morning footy, and much to my surprise, Ali Riley was one of the panelists. So, I mean, the writing has been on the wall. That Angel City team from its inception, yeah, for the most part is going bye-bye. But what they gave us that first season was the memory of finally there's a women's team in the greater Los Angeles area, which we'll always remember. You and I had season tickets. We sat in Founders Club. We watched every single game from there. It's a shame to see these players, go. But as the saying stands, supporters are going to be there in perpetuity. Players, they come and go. And so they'll always be remembered as a big part of the team's history. But let's not, beat around the bush here. The team's history in terms of success on the pitch hasn't really been there. So obviously needing to make some replacements, letting some players walk, it's got to happen. Now that you've got the personnel in charge that you do, they've done everything to take care of business, attract money, be a valuable club. But this is Los Angeles. If you're not going to win, no one's going to care.
Yeah, the other player that they let go, Madison Hammond, also 72 total matches played for Angel City, just 1 goal and 1 assist. But the thing that hurts when you lose her is you lose somebody who has been a trailblazer in women's soccer, the first Native American player. She is both Navajo and San Felipe Pueblo, the first Native player to play in NWSL, allowed to walk. And by the way, that's the term that many publications used to describe her. She calls herself a Native player. I couldn't actually find a place where she referred to herself as Native American, but many other publications did. So I just want to make sure I get that out there. Lily Nabet will remain on loan. Casey Fair will return back to Angel City for the preseason. Also a bit of a bummer that Riley Tiernan, who was nominated for the NWSL Rookie of the Year award, did not win it. But she did, by the way, lead all rookies with 8 goals this season. And that set a new Angel City single season record, the second most goals ever scored by a rookie in NWSL. And she was an Iron Woman, as they call it, playing in all 26 league matches. And by the way, one last little side note on Megan Reed. You know that you might have made an error on letting somebody go when just like 20 minutes after the ink is dry on her leaving, another club snatches her up. And that would be the case with a 3-year contract with the new Denver Summit, which will begin its play in 2026. So lots of changes afoot, as they said in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Lots of changes afoot at the Circle K at BMO Stadium. It's going to be a very different team next year. Philly, let's talk real quick about Orange County.
Wait, real quick. I know we're going to Orange County, but let's not forget that Savvy King created a CPR program for the NWSL. Just a reminder, she collapsed mid-season due to the congenital heart condition and underwent surgery. Now she's spearheading a league-wide safety initiative. This just got released today, and through her nonprofit called Savvy King of Hearts, she and Angel City are going to be partnering up with the American Heart Association and the NWSL to provide free CPR training for all teams, players, coaches starting in the 2026 season. So it's important to note that as well.
No, absolutely. I wish we could give that a little bit more time, but let's get into Orange County. Philly, let's talk attendance numbers real quick at Orange County. According to Transfer Market, Orange County's attendance numbers, maybe they don't look great if you're just looking at the table. They're 13th overall in fans drawn on the season, just about 62,500 through 14 games. That number might just seem okay, But what you got to look at is the percentage of seats filled, and they are pretty darn good at that, filling just under 90% of their seats for the season. And this is what people need to realize about what makes USL Championship soccer so successful. It is usually very location specific, and they draw down there in Orange County. They were second in sellouts with 8 sellouts in their 14 matches on the season, and third just barely in percentage behind the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, which that stadium, by the way, if you ever have a chance to go out to Colorado Springs and see that beautiful stadium, they have done a wonderful job there. And look, nobody outdraws the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the USL Championship. All they did was sell just about 99% of their seats game in and game out. But Philly, let me ask you this question. What does that tell you about the greater statement to be made by soccer in the Orange County area?
So a lot of Orange County's games would be on the same day and for the most part close to the same time as LAFC and LA Galaxy in certain conditions as well. Every time I tried to find an opportunity to go down to Orange County to check out a game, there was usually a conflict as far as who was playing on the calendar. So if they can get as many people to fill that stadium as they can, considering that just up north they have the competition of the 2 biggest clubs in Major League Soccer, that speaks volumes as to how much they are loved down in their neck of the woods. They had an up and down season. It ebbed and it flowed. Like any new group, you're going to go through your forming, norming, storming, and performing. And Orange County certainly went through all of that. But even despite all the storming they had, they started to norm, got their way into the playoffs, lost a heartbreaker to end the season. But look, Orange County is just a team that is what a good standard, a good way to compare against, because they're highly successful. They've done a lot of great things, connections to Europe, obviously, with Rangers and fans that truly do love them. So they're a great model and a great ambassador, a great representation for USL as a whole.
Yeah, and both those clubs playing in 5,000-seat stadiums. You got Rhode Island's playing in front of 10,000 almost every night. Same thing with Sacramento and Louisville City. So really proving you can do things on a smaller scale and on a little bit bigger of a scale in some of these stadiums as well. I think the larger point that needs to be made is that with USL creating this pro-rel league coming up, you're going to see a lot of talk about it. It could be a lot of fun to see the way that some of these teams start to reshape the soccer landscape in and around the United States. I mean, if Sacramento and Louisville and Rhode Island are drawing 10,000 a night, Indy 11 are drawing 10,000 a night, it's going to be pretty interesting. That's for sure.
Indy 11 always drew real good. I mean, I would love to see who breaks the record. The record's still held by FC Cincinnati, 31,478 versus the Indy 11 back in 2018. Yep. Let's see who breaks that. Sac too. Sac Republic had a damn good season in 2023 against Orange County, 20,341 fans. Now that they got that new exec from the Premier League into their front office, yeah, I think people are going to start to pay a little more attention to what's going on in USL, 100%.
Yeah, something that we're going to start to pay attention to is a lot of World Cup talk. We are going to be focusing on that. Look, especially with a lot of these teams out of action, creating a best 11 or even an elite 6 is going to be a little difficult at times. So we get to turn our attention right now to the U.S. men's national team. A couple of friendlies that they played in their lead up to hosting the World Cup, being one of the 3 nations, obviously, besides Mexico and Canada, hosting the World Cup. And Philly, first, that match against Paraguay. Paraguay, a normally tough team for the U.S. men's national team, yet again, through 70 minutes, level at 1. It was Gio Reyna with the goal in the 4th minute. But that being said, able to come away with a win in some of these matches under Ponch, where we may have lost several of these, or at least unfortunately drawn some of these. It was Folarin Balogun in the 71st minute. Philly, let me ask you real quick on Balogun. Is he going to be the player to step up, to be the number 9, to get those goals for the U.S. men's national team in the World Cup?
Yeah, I do think most people feel hopeful that that is going to be the case. The kid is quality when playing. And I mean, the goal that he scored, by the way, assisted by Gio Reyna, who made his return after 16 months away. Yep. If there's anything to take away from that friendly, is the fact that Gio Reyna looked pretty darn good. But yeah, I do think Balogun is going to be that guy. More importantly, he needs to be that guy. So I know these are friendlies. These are games that don't necessarily have any bearing on anything in the grand scheme of it. But look, the USMNT, they haven't lost since that 2-0 game against South Korea. I mean, their last 5 games, they've won 4 and they've drawn 1. So they look pretty good. And Balogun, obviously, scoring a goal was important. It ups his confidence, helps him out in tremendous way. But the U.S. is going to need that kid to like really be on fire come World Cup time. Otherwise, we're going to get our behinds handed to us.
Yeah, I love Poch getting a little uppity with the media after that second game when they said, oh, not a lot of regulars, not a lot of first teamers in the lineup, only because it was a roster of many MLS guys. And, oh, by the way, if you ever go down that cesspool, it is U.S. men's national team Twitter. They love having MLS players on the U.S. men's national team. Well, how about a 5-1 drubbing against Uruguay? That's right. Uruguay, a nation that has produced some incredible players recently. This match already being dubbed the MLS game. 2 goals for an absolutely fantastic defender, Alex Freeman. He is going to be somebody that is not long for Major League Soccer. He plays with Orlando City. A goal for Sebastian Berhalter. A goal for Tanner Tessman, who spent the majority of his time with FC Dallas. And, of course, Diego Luna getting another goal. That's another player who they're talking about. Can he play on the front line, score goals consistently? Where is Ricardo Pepi in all of this? I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but our producer is mentioning in the chat, so I will say U.S. men's national team beats Uruguay 5-1. Mexico was scoreless against Uruguay. And again, that was Philly who said that, not Scarf. But either way, a great performance by the U.S. in this 5-1 victory, Philly.
I mean, I just go back, and since we do cover LAFC, it's something I want to bring up. Like Kike Oliveira, who used to play for LAFC, made the comment that, oh, MLS makes players lazy, gives them no passion. There's no emphasis on winning because anybody makes the playoffs and all that other stuff. Like he basically poo-pooed Major League Soccer. And to see a squad of Major League Soccer stick it to one of the historically most successful countries, period, it makes me smile, honestly. Every reaction causes an equal, if not bigger, reaction. 5-1, that's a huge reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great response by the U.S. men's national team. 5-1 victory after a 2-1 victory. And I just want to remind everybody, he's Philly, I'm Scarf. Thank you to Rob Halone for coming on as well. Thank you to our interview guest, Ant Powell, the Empire Strykers' newest striker. This has been Soccer in 60, the fastest paced soccer show in Southern California, brought to you by SAC Health System. Want to remind you all again, we cover all of the major soccer news in the Southland: LAFC, Galaxy, Angel City, Orange County Soccer Club, and of course, Empire Strykers. And we will be covering a ton of World Cup talk once the World Cup rolls around. But I'm your host, J.R. Liebert. That's Philly. And again, thank you for joining us on another fantastic episode of Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC